Welcome to the Tech Transform podcast, where we have a weekly conversation with people impacting the enterprise tech landscape. My name is Shubhangi Dua, the podcast producer, host, and tech journalist at EM360 Tech. In this episode, I am speaking with Rishi Rana, CEO of Cyara, about how Agentic AI is transforming customer interactions and the strategies for successful implementation. Hi, Rishi. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Great. And just before we get started, I would like to know what is the agenda we're setting for this podcast, so our audience knows what we're diving into and a clear message at the end of the podcast that you would like to get across for them.
Great. I think the world is plagued with agentic AI, as you mentioned in your introduction. And everybody is curious to understand how is that going to be transforming customer experience across all the channels, whether you're picking up the phone, going through your iPad, going through browser, apps. How is that going to change? How is that going to help them achieve both on the company side and on the end customer side? How is that world going to be better across the board? And so that we can have better customer experience end to end. And that's where I come in from Cyara's perspective. So it will be a good conversation to have as to how the world is evolving around us and what's the technology evolving with that.
In the context of enterprise level customer experience, how are we seeing the practical application of AI evolve beyond simple chatbots and into more complex agentic systems?
Look, I think it's very easy to say. I live in Austin, Texas. So, every fifth house is starting up a AI sort of company because the world is getting disrupted by that. AI, when it comes to customer experience, it's evolving from a basic level of chatbots that used to be there for the last 5, say, maybe 10 years, into a fully agentic systems that operate across voice, digital, and human-assisted channels. So, if you go back 10 years ago, you used to press 1 when you pick up the phone and you're calling, let's say, any customer of yours or any vendor of yours, and you're pressing 1, then 8, then 6, etc., and you were still not getting routed correctly. And that's where I think the challenges were. Now, all of that is getting evolved into what is a voice bot, as an example. So the voice bots are going to be they are going to be powered by the models. The models, I mean by LLM models that are going to be there, whether it's the Llamas or the Geminis and ChatGPTs of the world. So what is critical now is not just the response automation, but the intelligent orchestration of those responses. These systems, sort of increasingly are capable of anticipating user needs. So your objective, you want to fly from, let's say, Austin to New York. And if you just say that, hey, you're calling the airlines, but what is your objective? Is it a round trip? Is it that you're going business class? You're going economy class? What is that? When are you going? When are you coming? Like, what is the objective? So that's what is adapting that in real time and then guiding towards what is a hybrid solution so that if the voice bots can capture your objective and take you over to the agent so that your work can get done faster. And in this case, let's take airlines. Their customer experience is much better because obviously the studies suggest that if the customer experience is better, 86% of the people are willing to pay more for the same service, no matter what it is.
Yeah, I totally get that. And that's pretty much in every industry we see out there, isn't it? Also, like this year, I don't remember which report it was, but 80% of Gen AI projects fail. And most of them are in the CX industry. So very briefly, in I would say 60 seconds, if you could tell me what makes a great CX platform and what does not.
What makes a great, that's a very tough question. I wish you would have the answers and then the company that I'm leading actually would go tenfold. But that said, I think, look, we all live in global enterprises where global enterprises need to have a customer journey, end-to-end customer journey. No matter which channel you're coming from, voice, digital, the emerging AI channels are developing that flawless customer experience every time. every time when you pick up when you're trying to get to an agent, most of the times you're either in a rush or you're not happy because you're going to be complaining about something, or you need that data fast enough. You don't want to be waiting in the line. So to say, hey, your wait number is 30 minutes wait, and if you could call back, or we'll call you back. Or imagine that you're calling your bank as well, and instead of a smooth service, all you have to say multiple times is, representative, can I talk to the representative? And that's what needs to be resolved in a nutshell, where customer experience is safely done, and there's a net behind that is testing, monitoring, the contact center, the chatbots, the AI assistants, to provide that flawless experience to end customers.
If you had to tell me some of the key distinctions we need to recognize as both customers and businesses, what would it be?
So differences between customers and the enterprises. Look, I think one major gap is the there's a breakdown between asynchronous and synchronous channels, between the messaging and chat versus the AI agents and the live support or the human support, which I call as the hybrid model. From a customer's perspective, you want to move from a web chat to a voice part of it, but the context often doesn't follow. I mean, that's where the frustration from a customer perspective grows up. From a organization perspective, that has to be inconsistency across channels. For example, when an answer in a chat contradicts the voice support, or the customer must repeat themselves, as I was mentioning earlier, chat from the channel multiple times. This happens when your company is operating in silos. So because your one service or one product or another area is being overlooked. So that's where now just having an AI agent on an emerging AI channel is not the answer. That conversational AI intent can have misalignments. So from a customer's perspective, again, they want to see between asynchronous and synchronous channels, I get the same experience no matter where I come from. From the inconsistency then across channels emerges when the companies are not looking at it holistically and looking in silos.
So what are some of these less visible but equally critical friction points that can lead to customer dissatisfaction in this case?
Yeah, I see. There could be multiple friction in the handoffs. Let's take. I mean, since we're talking about AI and agentic AI, the large learning models and IVR loops are plenty, and there are silent failures that can be a big problem, such as customers giving up before even reaching to that level. I mean, it happens to me oftentimes when I'm calling my cell phone provider, or I'm calling the cable provider, etc. That gives me the AI misroutes a request without alerting the operations teams. So most of the enterprises then don't have an end-to-end visibility across those potential friction points and or frustrations. I mean, you mentioned it that obviously the study that a lot of AI was launched mostly in the customer experience area, and much of the projects were a failure because it was easier enough to get into it without ensuring that end-to-end visibility. Number one, continuous testing and monitoring. AI is great, but you got to have guardrails and the intent behind all the questions, the objective behind the customer is getting answered. So for that, you need what is continuous testing and monitoring of each and every channel. Again, making sure that it is consistent across the entire orchestration of the experience.
This year, vastly, we've been talking about agentic AI, of course, and then guardrails. And now finally, everyone's catching up to the AI fighting AI aspect. And with agentic AI already booming in this space, especially, what are your thoughts on, like, how do you practically employ that with those guardrails? And, how do we make sure that all the regulations are being met while still efficiently using those and ensuring that the that we are reaching that level of success we need from the amount of money we're spending on it? I know this is like so many thoughts in there, but what do you think on that?
Look, I think all enterprises must shift left with AI, with testing of AI agents early. And with the shift left means that you're starting early enough in the game and not later. So it's, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, is continuously across all possible customer inputs and outcomes. So when you look at, again, all the channels. Number two, trust in AI starts with that continuous testing and observability. So enterprises must move away from one-time QA and embrace a dynamic end-to-end overall experience. If we do not test that functionality, and if you're not testing, for example, hallucinations or misuse or bias or basic liabilities that will be caused to the companies and the compliance violations, as a data point, just in the last year in 2024, there was over $10 billion in violations and liabilities because of incorrect information that was provided to the customer. So that's the exposure companies across the world are having. So having that real-time monitoring is very essential. When AI misbehaves in production, for example, you need to catch it instantly or proactively catch it before your customers do, because that will help prevent that reputational damage that you might cause to your end customers. And coming into that, that's where we at Cyara, I think I've created what is the next set of products as well, and my engineering team has created what is an AI Trust Suite that helps validate the LLM-based bots, voice bots, chatbots. It detects that hallucinations and misuse. And then what we have is, again, the monitoring behind it, which we call the Pulse 360, because it's the real-time CX or customer experience visibility. And we are spread across 111 some countries, along with 300 plus carriers. So we could detect at any given point, all the way from Japan to US or let's say Philippines, etc., to all the way again to any part of the nation. So we are the broadest when it comes to making sure that we are actually seeing it from a real-time CX visibility across.
Wow, that's massive reach. That's amazing, honestly, incredible, the amount of reach that you have. How do you ensure the scalability then? How do you ensure that reach is so wide?
Our platform ensures that AI works as intended, first and foremost, every time across every channel. I mean, that has been my mantra that I've been making sure my product team, my engineering teams, and especially when it matters. Number two, I've coined a new mission for our company moving forward from this year, which is we eradicate bad customer experience. It's not just a hairy, big goal, but that's the focus that we use in order to define our products, define as we continue to innovate in this area of Agentic AI. We've just launched our first Agentic AI product as well, called Cyara Copilot.
Congratulations.
It will help actually provide visibility before anything is happening as well. And we intend to launch a lot of almost a factory of CX assurance, productivity, and growth agents between now and end of the year, and certainly into 2026.
Wow. When you say intent, though, it reminds me of an article that I wrote based on a Cambridge study that came out, which calls the future of agentic AI interlinked it to intention economy. And it said that AI will be able to know what you want done, basically, and your AI agent will know what you want done without you having to even tell you. And it kind of made it sound like it was basically mind reading us. So how do you clearly define that in the CX space? What is the future of AI agents? Where do you see your particular AI agent heading towards in the future?
Yeah. I think the first part is that we are using all the models, be it Google is a customer, and so is Microsoft, and so is Apple. So we're working with the who's who of the world in order to help them achieve better customer experience. That's the first piece. The second piece to it is that we are working with all the large models and the small models as well. So our products can actually help no matter what model you're using from an LLM or a generative AI perspective. We can work with any model and provide you, because we have a RAG framework behind it. What that does is it's able to actually analyze based on the intents that one would have towards providing that product or service. And within that, we are able to then extrapolate and create a plethora, breadth, and depth of test. So a breadth could be across the entire telecom space. A depth could be inside the entire IVR. And we are able to then create those test cases so that it can be run. It can be, again, on a continuous cycle. You can tweak them as well. Our product line is, again, no code and low code perspective. So we take pride in making sure my guidance to my product team is my 15-year-old should be able to use the product as well. So the entire CX life cycle from design to deployment to post-production, and we providing that assurance end to end with governance, the frameworks behind it.
And how can you easily integrate your AI product into existing enterprise workflows and also ensure its scalability? I feel like you have sort of answered that, and I really do like the goals that you're setting for yourself. But if a new enterprise of either small or large, a large enterprise or a small enterprise, however you prefer it, if they want to expand their workflow into and integrate it with an AI agentic system that helps with their customer service, then how would you ensure that?
Yeah, so look, we work across all the available contact centers across the globe, and we are agnostic. So number one, we don't care for what the contact center would be, because what we have also built is CX models and that can crawl through the entire contact center that is being provided. So for us, we can go in, we can read the entire workflow orchestration, and we can create a governance and a testing framework from that angle. Second, we also make sure that it's in compliance and policies. For example, the European Union has come up with an AI Act that was just released, a new AI Act, and they continue to revise it each year, but that was just released in the month of May. This is a large act containing thousands and thousands of pages. We have been able to encapsulate it within our framework so that we assure the customers that if you're going live, your compliance and policies and things that you have are according to the act, and you're not liable for a fine. So those are the two basic ones. There's a lot more in detail underneath that, where we, again, ensure that the entire CX life cycle has visibility, traceability, controls before just scaling into AI, because the misstep would be jumping from what was working towards AI while letting go of what was working. So we actually provide end to end. Last but not the least, we are expanding our reach beyond the contact centers. So our customer journeys are going to be moving forward with all the CRM and the help desk tools as well. Because a customer journey is not just about contact center, not just about picking up the phone and when somebody's answering on the other end, or a chatbot or a voice bot. It could be what happens on the help desk. It could be what happens in the CRM tool. So we will be looking at it holistically. And by next year, we are actually be the first one across the globe that we will be producing what I'm terming as the Google Maps of CX, which is you're going to have an end-to-end journey. You'll be able to visually see it and be able to see where the failures are happening and where successes are happening, so that you can fine-tune your own orchestration, your own workflow as well. Last but not the least, we'll be coming up with what is an effectiveness index across each of the channels or across all channels, so that would be a metric to use for success We have several metrics today within our products, but then again, we're trying to combine it, take the world much more forward. Since we are in this area, a niche area, we are the market leaders. It's upon us to continue to innovate and show the world what more can be done using the products.
I really like your analogy of Google Maps and you and Cyara basically taking that stance of formulating a Google Map in the CX space. It's amazing. What I have taken away from this podcast, though, is that everything comes down to data quality. And it seems like you are really ensuring that. And that's how you're moving forward in the CX lifecycle space and agentic, and you're in the front runner space of agentic AI as well. Now, my last question to you would be, if you had to summarize one key takeaway in 60 seconds from our conversation today for CIOs or IT decision makers, what would it be and why?
That's a very tough question, but look, I think AI is transforming CX faster than most enterprises can manage. That I'm seeing it. I am talking on almost on an everyday basis to a lot of CIOs, CTOs, even CMOs, marketing, because everybody wants to reach out to more customers. But innovation without assurance is going to be a liability for the companies, and that's what I've been emphasizing on. Like I mentioned about the $14 billion in liability that has been just in the last couple of years, in the last 1 year in 2024 itself. So the brands that win or that will win will have to be those who are continuously, again, testing, monitoring, optimizing that every AI-powered interaction before it fails. I can obviously fix it after it fails, but that's reactive. You have to be proactive about it. So that's number two. And the third part I would say is, and as the companies do this, they will benefit from this long-term increased productivity and growth within their team, because you would be able to understand where it's failing and fixing it so that you can go back and sell more services or more products to the same customer.
Well, thank you so much, Rishi, for joining us today. I really appreciate you coming on, and that was a very great takeaway. Also, thank you to everyone listening. We hope you took a lot away from today's podcast. For further information on what we've talked about, please head on over to Cyara.com. We'll be back next week with another episode in our podcast series. Until then, make sure you subscribe to this podcast on all major platforms and follow the conversation on our socials at EN360Tech, on X and LinkedIn. And for more great daily content, head on over to en360tech.com.